Friends, this is Miss Julia from the Macedon Public Library, and I'm coming with you today for a couple of quick book recommendations. I'm going to be focusing on mid-readers. There's a new series that we've started to get at our library, and it is by an author-illustrator who lives in South Africa. And I was flipping through it as I was getting it ready to circulate, and I thought, I want to read this. This is interesting. I like different cultures and seeing what kids are like in other places. So I thought we're going to do that. So I'm going to do 3 books that are by the author illustrator's name is Nikki Daly. The first book is called Here Comes Lola. I hope you can see that kind of okay. And the second one is, we don't own it physically in the library, but it is available on Owl to Go. So it's a digital download. And I'll talk about that one as well. And they're both mid-readers. So they're probably around probably third grade reading level. I don't think they've been rated yet through the Accelerated Reader Program, so we don't know that for sure, but that's what I would guess. They're kind of like early small chapters, stories about the character, little girl's name is Lola. So I'll talk about those 2 books, and then I also have a fairy tale that we have in our library that is also done by Nikki Daly, that focuses on a fairy tale through, that's familiar to us, but this is told as in an African story. Okay. So first we have, again, Here Comes Lola. So Lola was this little girl, and she's going to school in a lot of the stories. The first, I think each book has maybe 4 chapters in it, 4 short stories. And she talks a little bit about what her life is like. So she has school, she has friends, she has her family, she has her mom and her grandma that she calls Go-Go. And what kind of happens to her as she gets along. So there's 4 stories in Here Comes Lola. I didn't write them down in my notes. Also, I've broken my arm, so I'm wearing a cast. So this is a little interesting. So the first chapter is A Gold Star and a Kiss for Lolo. Then there's Lolo's Hat. Then Lolo and her lost dog. Oh, and a dog called Hope. Oh, Lolo and the Lost Ring. So again, they're little chapters, little parts of her life as she goes around. The first one, she's in school. So the gold star is when you do like rewards that you get in school, or like you might get at home for doing chores or something like that. So she got a gold star for reading, and it was just like one of the little stickers. And it was on her forehead, and she was so excited. And then when she got home, it was gone. And she was telling her mom and her Go-Go about it, and they backtracked and they found it. Somebody else a younger child had found it and really, really liked it and didn't want to give it up. And so the grandmother kind of helped her get through that by giving her a kiss that would be with her for always. So that's a little bit about that. Then there's one about a fancy hat that she really likes. Then her friend gets the hat instead and how they work through that. The lost and found ring, they found a ring. Lola likes to read, and she really likes to do arts and crafts. So she designed this really fancy poster about the ring, but didn't actually say what it looked like. And then people would call them and say, hey, I lost a ring. And they finally did eventually find the person who owned the ring. And then they made a new friend from that, which then leads into the next story when she's taking art classes, because the person who lost the ring was an art teacher. So now she's taking art classes with the same woman. And the woman helps her help a dog who needs to be taken care of better. So working through that. So that is what is in Here Comes Lola. So that's the physical book that we have. So then the one, I'll show you it on my phone, is called, there we go, Hooray for Lola. So this is what it looks like on my phone. I'm using the app called Libby. And so that's the front cover of it. And inside, again, it's, the author illustrator is Nikki Daly, Nikidally. And so the pictures, no, it's not going to show up, is it? Oh, there we go, are just black and white, except for the front cover. So there's Lola again. So these are further stories about her and her life that's slightly different. So she talks about in her school, one of the stories talks about how she can choose, it's a wear what you want day at school, because normally they have uniforms. And so I'm not saying that every school in South Africa has uniforms. Obviously, there's schools in the United States where the students are wearing uniforms. But this was like very exciting because I can pick up my favorite clothes that feel the most comfortable for me. and that I kind of want to show off a little bit. So one of the stories talks about showing off and kind of bragging about who you are or what you have and how that interacts with one of her friendships. And another one is about her favorite library. She gets her first library card, and which of course I hope you all have by now. And she checks out a book, and it's so good that she takes it to school, and they share it at school, and somebody borrows it, takes it without telling her, and brings it home, and they share it, and that gets shared and shared and shared. And now it's time for the book to come back, and she doesn't know where it is. So they kind of find, so it's all about kind of library books and borrowing it and bringing things back and just having fun with stories. One, she gets sick and she ends up having to go to the hospital. So it's all about that. And then the last one is about babysitting a younger, I think it's a cousin. I think it's a cousin. And she didn't want to end up babysitting, and of course she enjoys it at the end. And so those titles are Lolo's Worst Best Friend, Lolo's First Library Book, What Made Lolo Smile, and Lolo the Babysitter. So again, I really recommend it. That is available on Owl to Go. That you can access the ebooks on a computer. You can do it on a Chromebook, on a phone, however. So and it's again, it's about the same size except that it's electronic. Okay, and then the final one I'm actually going to do a little bit of reading from, just to kind of give you an idea. So this is, again, it's in our fairy tale section. It's called Pretty Selma, and it's a Little Red Riding Hood story. So you all know the story of Little Red Riding Hood. Some slight differences in this, besides this being said in Ghana. This is actually set in Ghana, which is another country in Africa, other than South Africa. And so Selma lives with her grandmother and her grandfather, and her grandmother asks her to go to market and pick up some shopping for her. So it's not that the grandmother's sick and you need to bring some goodies to your grandmother. Grandmother's sending her out to go do the shopping. So one of the first things that she does is she's like, oh, okay, so now I'm going to get dressed in my fancy blue headdress and scarf, my stripy skirt, my pretty beads, and my yellow sandals. So that's obviously building up. Along the way, she does her shopping. She gets all the stuff in her very big basket. Again, I'll show the cover on her head. She's balancing on her head. She's got a chicken. She's got a watermelon. And she's got a bottle of pink cold fizzy beverage with stripy straws. I don't know, something like that. So she gets her stuff. And then on her way home, she passes by Mr. Dog. So instead of a wolf, it's a dog. And the dog says, let me help you. It's a hot day. And looks like you're having a hard time, so let me help you. So one by one, he gets the basket, he gets the scarf, he gets the stripy skirt and the sandals and the beads. And so he's kind of all dressed up like Pretty Selma. And he is walking faster and faster and faster. He gets back to grandmother's house before Selma does. And I just thought this was, my, what big eyes you have and what big teeth you have and all of that. So this is the version. I'm going to try see what I can do here with my hand and the camera. I will read it a little bit and then I will show you the pictures. So when Granny saw Mr. Dog flip-flopping up the path, she thought it was her Pretty Selma. Selma, Pretty Selma, come give your granny who loves you a kiss. Mr. Dog leapt up and gave her a sloppy old kiss. Oh my, Selma, said Granny, what a wet nose you have. Oh. That's kind of the picture. So there's Mr. Dog all dressed up in the skirt and the scarf and the yellow sandals that are way too small for him. And then Granny took the basket from him and said, oh, Selma, Pretty Selma, you look hungry. Let's eat. So Mr. Dog started to chase that speckled rooster round and round. Oh, my Selma, cried Granny, what an appetite you have. So there he is with that. So again, they're slightly different things, but it's all referring back to this story. And then it's time for bath. So guess what? Granny's given the dog a bath. And she says, what hairy ears you have. Are you sure you're my Pretty Selma? Oh, yes, 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 cried Mr. Dog, jumping into her lap and wagging his tail. So she's getting more and more confused and not sure what's going on here. Let's see. There we go. There he's on the lap Like, does that look like a little girl? I don't think that looks like a little girl. I think Granny probably needs to get some glasses. So I'm not going to end the story for you. You can check it out and read it for yourself. But you know it's going to end up okay because it's a fairy tale. So there we go. So those are 3 book recommendations that are like in the mid-reader kind of range. And they're all from a perspective of an artist and illustrator. So he does his own pictures too, from South Africa. So that's interesting. And I hope this is giving you something to kind of look for. The Here Comes Lola and Pretty Selma are both available. Well, I'm at home right now, but they will be available once I bring them in and check them back in for you to check out. And then the other one is available on All2Go, and you can check that out anytime too. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this and have a great week. Bye.